You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Monday, October 21st. We are still recovering from the 49ers losing to the Chiefs once again yesterday in Week 7. But the bad news is, the bad news doesn't stop there. We've got plenty more updates from Kyle Shanahan today regarding the slew of injuries that the 49ers are dealing with right now. Joining me to discuss that and this latest loss is Weston P. Smith. Weston, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing about as well as Mitch Wisniewski's attempt at an onside kick yesterday. That's how I'm doing, Steph.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm still recovering from the loss against the Arizona Cardinals, let alone what just happened yesterday. But we're here. We'll try to make some sense of it, and we'll figure this thing out as we go.
Yeah, the 49ers still have not won 2 games in a row this season. That feels like a problem for them. But yeah, there's definitely bigger problems, bigger fish to fry as of right now, because as I mentioned today, we just got word of a bunch of injuries, the biggest one being Brandon Aiyuk. He is out for the season with a torn ACL and MCL after an MRI, and there could be other damage as well. But I mean, already for it to be known as an ACL and MCL is awful for Brandon Aiyuk, awful for this team. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Like, this is a huge blow, for the team and Brandon, of course. Before we talk about anything else, I just want to say, because I know hot takes are flying, right? Just want to say, I'm glad that Brandon Aiyuk got paid. This is why when a lot of us say that we hope that Brandon Aiyuk gets what he deserves, we understand why players play hardball in negotiations. It's because of things like this, because your next play is not promised. Your whole season is not promised. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Brandon Aiyuk got paid this offseason. I know that's not ideal for the team, of course, but, I think Brandon is relieved at least to know that he has his deal and he has security for his family. So, Weston, though, this is huge for the team and a big blow for this offense that is already missing a lot of key pieces.
Yeah. As you can imagine, I've been fielding texts and phone calls all day just from people saying, like, dude, what now? What are you going to do? You just paid everything you just said, right? I'm not going to say that I'm glad Brandon Aiyuk got paid. Good for him is what I'm going to say, because I'm always pro player. But as the fan of this team, you feel like, well, geez, I really didn't get $30 million worth in year one. Not necessarily did Brandon's fault, none of that, right? I'm just looking at this from a macro versus a micro, those sort of things. But I was having the conversation with somebody earlier, and we were talking about, they brought up Brandon Aiyuk's lack of production. And I couldn't disagree with lack of production outside of a single game. But I think what is lost is sometimes just having the threat of Brandon Aiyuk out there is better than not having even an unproductive Brandon Aiyuk, right? It's just situational football, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and you got all the guys out there, the quote unquote Avengers. Like, he's one more that needs to be accounted for and takes away the ability for teams to scheme out, a Kittle, a Debo, or whoever else they might want to scheme up against. So yeah, it's not ideal. It's not ideal, but I don't know if now's the forum or if it's later, Steph, but like, in trying to come here positive today, I do see some silver lining from the injury, or I'm trying to see, and maybe I'm just trying to convince myself and try to convince your audience. But it sucks. It hurts. It's not fun.
Yeah. To piggyback back on you saying that having Brandon Aiyuk out there, even if the production maybe did not match what he did last season, his presence is still felt by opposing defenses because they still are accounting for him.
Have to.
You may not respect Brandon Aiyuk and what he's done this season, but I will tell you, opposing defenses do.
Yes,
And
they
they absolutely account for where he is on the field at all times. They absolutely have a game plan for him at all times. If you thought it was ugly with Brandon Aiyuk on the field, it is about to get like uglier without him there. That's putting it lightly. I mean, especially with Christian McCaffrey not being out there too, because I think him not being out there amplifies the need for others to get open, and we kind of forget about the gravitational pull that a player like Christian McCaffrey has and that other people benefit from, right? So now without Christian McCaffrey and without Brandon Aiyuk, boy, like I don't even know. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what to expect, Weston, but I'm very scared.
Yeah.
Scared. I don't want to know what's coming, to be quite honest with you. And yeah, it's
So I kind of do. I feel like we know what we have in Brandon Aiyuk, and we know that so long as he recovers from this injury and returns, let's just assume somewhere around week 4, 5, or 6 next season, just given the gravity of it being an ACL, MCL. Since it's not just an ACL, they're probably not going to go in and repair it right out of the gate. They're probably going to wait for the swelling to go down to understand, like, is there cartilage and meniscus and other things that are in the knee that you might not be able to tell from imaging when there's a lot of swelling, especially. I'm not sure how much you know about the knee, but there are 4 ligaments, right? There's the ACL, MCL, PCL, LCL. If 2 of those 4 are torn completely, there's going to be a lot of inflammation. Now, you're just not going to see everything. Neither here nor there. What I think from why I'm not scared, I think this is where we now need to accept that the 49ers are who their record says they are. There's no skating around that. But now the names that we've been talking about, Jacob Cowing, getting Ricky Pearsall back, we've been talking about how we haven't seen the contributors and how the Trey Lance trade affected all that because we haven't had those early draft picks. Now is the time to actually don't go try to win games with Chris Conley and Ronnie Bell. Like, thrust these young bucks into action and let's see what you really have. So when it's decision time next year, you're confident of what's there and you're basing your decisions off of that. And I'm actually not even foregoing the season here. Like, 3-4 is not the end of the world. It just feels like the sky is falling because how you're 3-4 and who you're losing. But here's my silver lining point. And this might be just me. You know, it's funny stuff. I was having this conversation with my wife. I'm a really objective football fan. Like, if you sit and watch other games with me, like, very matter of fact, understand the game. When I watch the 49ers, I will not sugarcoat this. I definitely have rose-colored glasses on because this is my team. I love all sports, but this is the only team that I claim that I root for across all major sports in the fashion that I do. This is like my heart and my passion. So I am a little blind at certain times, and I understand that, but only to this team. But what have we been criticizing Kyle Shanahan about the vast majority of this year? This offense is too vanilla. What happened to the creativity? Yeah. What happened to drawing the plays on the sideline and doing all of those things? Like, what happened to, once upon a time, Deebo Samuel was a nobody in the league. Once upon a time, Brandon Aiyuk, too, was just a rookie, right? And they thrived under this offense with less on the offensive side of the ball, I would argue.
Yeah.
If there's anything to look forward to, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm hopeful it will happen. This is going to cause Kyle Shanahan to stop thinking, my guy on my side of the ball is just better than your guy. He'll get open. He'll do whatever, because now that's not the case. Now get back to the Kyle Shanahan that literally schemes these guys open. And maybe you just run, instead of all the mouths you need to feed, maybe you just run the offense. And sometimes when you just run the offense, it tends to look a little bit better than you're worried about feeding everybody. I don't know. That's just me being optimistic, though.
I think that's a great thought. I want to put a pin on that. No, you're good. Because my mind is going the exact same place as you, Weston.
Okay.
And so I want to also give
Oh,
the yeah, oh boy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I turned the page literally on my slides here to show the other injury updates that we got today from Kyle Shanahan just before we went live, actually. And I think it's even more problematic, right, than just the Brandon Aiyuk thing. Brandon Aiyuk out for the season. Yes, that is awful. George Kittle, who I think, like, you think George Kittle and you're like, okay, cool. Like, at least we still have Kittle. At least we still have Debo. At least we still have Juwan Jennings. All those guys are on this injury update list. So I don't know how much we really have those guys right now. George Kittle dealing with a foot sprain. He is day-to-day. Chris Conley, another wide receiver, ankle sprain, also day-to-day. Debo Samuel, who missed this game. Remember, he was expected to play before, this game happened. But I think we all saw from seeing the footage of him on the sideline, seeing him pregame, he looked unwell. He was dealing with apparently pneumonia, and he went to the hospital, I believe, either last night or this morning because it clearly got worse. And obviously his status for week 8 now up in the air. Juwan Jennings, who missed last week's game because of a rib injury, also unclear if he's going to be available week 8. Christian McCaffrey, we got some updates on some of the other guys as well. So Christian McCaffrey, no setbacks. It's positive news, right? With his Achilles tendonitis, although he will not be back this week as well. I think the more likely scenario is that he would be back after the bye week. Kyle kind of hinted at the same. Dre Greenlaw, no setbacks for him either, but it's going to be a few more weeks for him. So I wouldn't be, circling any dates on the calendar for Dre Greenlaw quite yet. And then Jake Moody, not going to be back this week either. So this is concerning. This is concerning on many levels because, one, Weston, I think you can kind of get over the fact that the 49ers lost to the Chiefs. Like, I think a lot of us could have even expected that, right? But then you're going into this game, week 8, against the Cowboys, right? And you think to yourself, well, we always own the Cowboys. So, like, I'm penning that in, sharpening that in as a win, right? Even before it happens. But now with all these injuries, I'm like, well, shoot, I don't even know anymore if we can beat the Cowboys with how hurt the 49ers are right now. That is a big concern. And look, you just got to get to the bye week, right? You got to get to the bye week. But if you can't even make it past the Cowboys, I don't know. This just does not feel good when some of the guys that, we're expecting to have expanded roles now with Brandon Aiyuk out, they're not even healthy, right? So to go back to what you were saying about the younger guys and figuring out how to get back to the drawing board with this offense. For one, I wish it was always like that. Like, I understand that the players that the 49ers have, yes, against many teams, it's like they simply were better than a lot of the teams or the defenses that are going up against. And it's like, I'm going to take that bet all day, my guy against yours. But still, as a coach and an offensive genius, like Kyle Shanahan is lauded to be, why would the creativity stop there? Like, even if your guy is so good, like, I mean, there still has to be some creativity. Like, look at what Andy Reid is doing with his guys. I mean, look at the Lions right now. They're stacked, right? But they're using all their pieces and they're using them very creatively. And now we're at a point where it's like, you kind of have to get scrappy.
No doubt.
Have to get scrappy. Does Kyle have it in him to get scrappy again?
Well, he better. I think it's a wasted opportunity if he doesn't. I don't think Kyle Shanahan's in jeopardy of losing his job, no matter what the fan base might be screaming for. I don't think that's an actual reality, especially when I look around. I'm like, the special teams guy still here? Like, like, where's he gonna go? But I think you don't want to waste this opportunity to, honestly, watching the team play this year, and we've said this multiple times on your show, just seems like a lack of urgency. Like, every week, even in the wins, it feels like there's like a lack of urgency per se, even in that Seattle win. it's always felt like this team has always had the mentality for the 2024 season. We just got to get to the bye week. And if we can get to the bye week, all the reinforcements are back. Dre's back. McCaffrey's back, right? Like those were the big names to start the season. Now all these other things have added up and say, hey, that's not going according to plan. And you mentioned some of the other teams. Well, Andy Reid's the anomaly, right? He's the best that the NFL has to offer right now. Patrick Mahomes is the best the NFL has to offer right now. They're the anomaly. But you mentioned like the Detroit Lions. Yeah, they've been a winning organization for the last 2.5 years, but they haven't hit that wall of consistent defeat in the most pinnacle moments that I think the 49ers. We've always felt like this was going to be a type of season, right? Like it just always had that like inkling to it. And I think it's, a little lack of demotivation, and we're all human. We all suffer from it. But because to your point, like as an NFL head coach, that's your job every week is to be drawing it up. And like, that is literally your job. So we all slack at our job from time to time, right? You and I, when we do, we get to keep it. When they do it, it's on the grandest stage in the world. It's just the reality, but this opportunity can't be missed for Kyle. Like he literally needs to, am I missing something here? Like even when this team was completely void of talent, 17, 18, they still moved the ball. You know what I mean? They still did things like
with the worst quarterback, by the way, like
100%. It's there. It can be done. And that's where I would like, if I was in that locker room or somebody, that's where I would challenge Kyle. Like, you want this monkey off your back of like what you can't win these games? Like, just make it about the plays. Make it about the plays. Don't make it about the people. Draw it up in the sand and let them go execute. These guys are NFL players. I don't know what to tell you. Like I'm over the injury excuses. Yes, we have a lot of them, but this is week 7 in the NFL. Everybody's got them. Everybody's got them. Ours just happen to be superstar names, but we have superstars elsewhere too. There's still people here that can play that still on paper make this a better football team than most in the NFL. I'm just going to freaking ramble all night. I'm so disappointed.
I mean, I think we're all disappointed, right? And I think we're all frustrated because we remember those scrappy days for this team. And wait, I just get into a comment here. Yes, Steve-O, sorry. It is a hip injury for Juwan Jennings. Sorry, not a rib. It's a hip injury for him. Sorry for that typo.
Which is probably worse as a wide receiver.
Yeah, probably why he's in jeopardy of missing, a second week in a row as well. But yeah, I mean, we remember when Kyle Shanahan was scrappy and he had to make it work with the young guys, which is why I've had the biggest gripe about Kyle being so hesitant and so like not wanting to play rookies.
Yeah.
Like, and in particular, wide receivers. You just drafted 2 this season. And the only reason I think we got to even see them on the field was because of injury, right? I question if we would have even seen Ricky Pearsall have a snap on the field if it weren't for Juwan Jennings being hurt, if it wasn't for Debo not playing this game, right? Like, yeah, he would have been active for this game. That would have been great. But I doubt that he would have actually gotten any like meaningful snaps if it wasn't for those circumstances, right?
Yeah.
Why does it take those circumstances to get some of these guys out there? And another thing that really frustrates me is that I feel like for the last couple years, when some of these guys, these backup guys, not just the young guys, but more so like veteran backup wide receivers, when they go out there and they're kind of like thrust into these more snaps in a game, short notice, right? Like you got to go out there. They make mistakes. They run the wrong routes. And I'm not saying that the Ronnie Bell one was, that wasn't a bad route, confirmed by pretty much everyone on the team that was asked about it. Ronnie Bell did not run the wrong route on what ended up being the interception. That was a bad ball from Brock Purdy. But there was another scenario, and Rich Madrid, pointed it out. Very first play, Chris Conley runs the wrong route, pretty much into like Brandon Aiyuk's route. It's like, dude, you're a veteran. Like, what are you guys doing in practice? Like, what are you actually practicing out there when some of these backup guys, they go in there and they're littered with mistakes? every time they go out there. It's really baffling to me and frustrating because remember Ray McLeod last season, like it's same thing. Like
Yep.
it would be so frustrating and so mind-boggling. But at a certain point, I got to stop blaming the player. And when it's a trend, when it's a pattern, I got to start looking at the coach. And so I'm like, Kyle, like what are these guys doing? And if your rookies are not ready to your standards, what can you do as the head coach, as the offensive coordinator, basically the play caller? Like, what can you do differently to get them on a path to being more ready, like sooner, right? Because again, there was a time with this team where you had to make it work with a rookie Deebo Samuel, and they had to get snaps and learn on the fly. You had to make it work with George Kittle. The one silver lining that we're talking about here with this team and some of these injuries is that you're kind of forced to get back in that mode.
Yep.
You're kind of forced to turn the page and being like, hey, like these guys who we have needed to have on the field and we won't sacrifice any of their snaps for any of these young players. They're not available anymore. So now we have to get these younger guys up to speed and get them out there and see what they have, sink or swim, right?
Totally.
So yeah, now it's a necessity. And now we really gotta wonder if again, like, does Kyle still have it in him to go back to that scrappiness that he started with as the play caller of this team, as a head coach? I mean, he did it once, right? So you got to figure it's still there. But I think you have to be okay with imperfection at times from some of these young players. I mean, you have to. I mean, they're fine with Ronnie Bell not being perfect, right? Like in some of the mistakes he makes. So I want to see more Ricky Pearsall. We're going to see more Jacob Cowing. Like we're going to see these guys out of need, and that's fine. If that's what gets Kyle to maybe turn the page or have an open mind on some of these players, then so be it, right?
The more reps these guys get, just the better for the next year. Like, okay, set aside this year. Like, say this year ends up being a complete flush. Let's just say it is, right? Like, those guys are going to need to be involved next year, right? It's not going to change. Your other Aiyuk status is going to be uncertain. Deebo status, don't know, right? What is his contract demand and what's going on with the Brock situation? Like, there's a lot that's still up in the air. What I do know is though those guys are under contract. You know what I mean? And those guys are going to be here, and you invested draft capital into them. Like, see what you got. Let the rooks go play. It hasn't looked all that bad on the defensive side of the ball, right?
No,
like,
that's
why
what I'm
can't
saying.
we be a little optimistic of how it's looking on the offense side of the ball? The truth is Kyle Shanahan's offense is so complex, right, that no rookie wide receiver tends to get it. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And he's right. He's probably right? I mean, I saw Ricky Pearsall 3 times in the game. Didn't know he was supposed to be sent in motion. Like, he wasn't seeing Brock lift the leg and go across the line of scrimmage. You can go back and check that. No idea. Nor should he. Dude just got shot 8 weeks ago, and he just got back to practice. Like, but the sobering fact here is that neither do the veterans, right? They don't know what's going on either, to your point. What are you doing at practice? The answer is they're just not getting reps. It's just ones. It's just the ones. It's just the ones, right? And now they will get reps, not just on Sunday, but Wednesday through Friday as well, or Tuesday through Friday as well. They're going to get reps. They're going to be front and center during film. They're going to be able to ask questions instead of sitting there listening to the questions that are asked because it's not their room yet. Like, they're the ones that are going to be on the field. Immerse them in it, get them into it, and let's see what we got. You got nothing to lose right now, right? I mean, it can only go up. Honestly, sitting from where I'm telling you, even at 3 or 4, it can't get any worse right now. It can't.
I've seen obviously a lot of people equating this season to the god awful 2020 season, right? Where everyone was hurt. I think yes, it's there, right? Where you kind of feel like what even is there to like play for? There's still plenty of time left in this season, and it could still be worse by the 2020 standards because it was just that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the 49ers are just kind of at a point where, yeah, there isn't too much more to lose, and you have what is looking like a really good draft class this season, right? So you might as well just see what you can do with those guys. Like, and to your point, Weston, it's paid off so far for the defense. I had no issues with the defense on
Defense
Sunday.
was not a problem yesterday.
Defense
that was one of the worst
not
games I've
the
seen Patrick
problem.
Mahomes ever play. It's not a problem.
2 interceptions. I mean, if your defense gets you 2 interceptions, I'm sorry. I need you to finish the job and get some points off of it. I need you to capitalize, right? That's what didn't happen, right? That ended up being the difference in this game. I believe the 49ers were like in awful like 1 of 8 or something like that. I'm sorry, hold on. Let me look it up. Third down efficiency.
Oh God.
2 of 11.
Yeah, it was awful.
2 of 11. And
they didn't have a first down for the first like quarter and a half, like till the final possession of the first half. I don't think they had a first down.
Red zone 2 of 4.
That's actually an improvement.
Yeah, by percentage wise, yeah, it's better, but still bad. And then all of Brock Purdy's picks came in Kansas City territory. I mean, I just can't think of a worse way to give the momentum back to the other team. And we know, like, what do we say every time when you go against this Chiefs team? The margin for error is so low. You have to be perfect. You have to play a perfect game against the Chiefs, and you can still lose, right? Well, I mean, the 49ers clearly did not play a perfect game against this Chiefs team. And I understand all the injuries the 49ers are dealing with. The Chiefs are dealing with a lot of injuries too. Like, they don't have their top running back. They don't have their top wide receiver. They also were missing one of their better defensive linemen in this game. One of their corners got hurt in this game, and he's going to be out for extended time. So, like, I don't know. I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear it. And again, like, a part of me expected the 49ers to lose this game. But it still doesn't make me feel any better because of the way that they lost it, right? It wasn't even close, you know? So that's why I was so angry about this loss. That's why it feels a little bit different than the others in a way. This was like a measuring stick for this team, a legit one, right? Because they've played some bad teams and we're like, woohoo, yeah, they're back in it. Let's go. But like you see them lose against a really good team like the Chiefs, and you're like, okay, yeah, they're nowhere near contending for a Super Bowl this season.
Yeah, but I mean, as of where we sit right now, the NFL is a funny game. I'm not trying to insinuate that I have any unrealistic expectations that the 49ers can win the Super Bowl. This team that we see play right here, right now, God no. But we've seen them go down this path before, and forget them. We've seen other NFL teams do this. The NFL is about getting hot at the end. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? Everybody talks about how September is still preseason, right? October is what you want to see, and things have not been good. But going into the bye 4-4, there's reason to, I don't want to say be optimistic, but you can hold out hope, right? And I think that's why I cared so much about this game. Realistically, that has nothing to do with standings, right? It's a non-conference game, non-division game, really doesn't influence all that much. To me, it was like, can you just beat this team? Right. Steph, the last time the 49ers beat the Chiefs, it was in October of 2014, a home game. I was at that game. So you're talking about Colin Kaepernick at quarterback, Brandon Lloyd at wide receiver. So maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I just need to go to the next 49. I do have a very stellar in-game record when I do go. That being said, I'm going up to Buffalo. I'm going to be at the Buffalo game. Okay. But that's a little closer for me. Finally, something out this way. But, like, can you just beat this team? Like this Andy Reid, because that was Alex Smith Chiefs. That was not Patrick Mahomes Chiefs. Can you beat Andy Reid? Doesn't matter what the stakes are, what it is. Just get, like, sometimes you just got to get the monkey off your back, right? And now that I saw what I saw, even though it's just a regular season, like, I don't have confidence that even if the 49ers won out and went to the Super Bowl, I'd say this team would still lose to the Kansas City Chiefs.
And that's a big if.
Big if, but guess what?
even
They're
went
playing
there.
the NFC, and the NFC stinks. You know what I mean?
I mean, yes. I mean, we're saying that, but I'm seeing the Lions get into form. I'm seeing the Packers get into form. Those are the big dogs. Those were the teams that the 49ers were up there with last season. I'm looking at the 49ers like I was looking at the Eagles last season, and I was thinking they're not it. Like, you guys are going to see, except that the 49ers haven't even gotten to a hot start this year like the Eagles did last year. So it's even worse. But yeah, it does not look like they're there. You add on the fact they're dealing with all these injuries, it doesn't give me hope that they're going to get there.
No, and I agree with that. I just think, putting the shoe on the other foot, the season's still very young. You're still not even halfway through the NFL season, right? There's still a lot of football to be played. You never know what's going to happen I agree. The Lions, to me, are the class of the NFC right now based on the way that they've been playing, not just this year, but even last season when took a minor miracle to the 49ers win the NFC Championship game. Like, they're real and they're coached and they use well. I'm still on the fence about the Packers. Like, yes, they're looking good, but like, it's out there and it can be done. You just got to worry. You just got to worry about in-house, right? Everybody's got to stop worrying about out-of-house. You just got to worry about what's going on inside this house, get it done, get it corrected. But that's what's so funny about the NFL. Like, if you came into the season, Steph, if we were talking in July, never in a million years would you say that the Minnesota Vikings would be 5-1 or 6-1, whatever they are through 7 games, right? You wouldn't say that the Commanders would only have 1 loss at this point in the season. This is like, that's why the league is so different year to year, even though you might have the same names there, right? Like 1 or 2 changes might totally, catapult you in the right or the wrong direction. I'm just saying that there's a lot of football left. And I think every 49er fan is right to sit here and say this season feels lost because as of 7:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, October 21st, it feels lost. But I choose to not be overly optimistic. I choose to have hope. Hope that something can change because, again, it just doesn't feel like it could get any worse. It just doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Whatever. At this point, I just want to bang my head into the wall. I will say this. I was miserable yesterday after the game. You'll be happy to know that I did wake up this morning. I did change my clothes. I did shower.
Yeah. Okay,
not like
good.
my depression from the 2 weeks.
I was a little worried about you that time.
No, we were all good. I went to the grocery store after the game. Now, keep in mind, I'm in New Jersey, right? So, yes, there's plenty of global 49er fans. Walking in the grocery store, it's late at night. Nobody's even there. Walking down the aisle, I got still my 49er garb still on, and I see a dude who's got 49er stuff on too. He's got his little daughter in his shopping cart, and we just literally start walking towards each other, and we just hug. We literally just man hugged. Like, it was like the version of like a man cry right there in the middle of shop right in a grocery store. And I didn't know his wife was with him, and I was by myself, and the wife comes walking around the corner. She's like, "Oh, you guys are so sad." And we just looked at her, we're like, yeah, we friggin' are. You know what I mean? But we shared a moment that made me smile when I didn't think I was going to smile for at least 48 hours right after that game.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with hugging it out after that kind of loss. And hey, we're just happy that you changed clothes this time.
I slept in my bed. I changed clothes. I took a shower today.
That's a step forward.
I was a functional human being.
It's a step forward in the right direction for sure. I'm proud of you. Yeah, it's a wild story, Weston. It really is. But look, we're here talking about, I guess, what happens with the 49ers from here. Weston's not ready to call it. Fine. I am like, I'm at the stage where I'm laughing through the pain, like, so I'm not quite where you are.
Stage 3 of grief. Sounds like
stage
you're
3. I'm not quite at thinking that they're going to pull this off.
You're not in full denial I am.
If they pull off anything, it's going to be like a wild card,
Yeah.
entry to the playoff. That's it. Like, that's it. That's what I'm saying right now. If Christian McCaffrey comes back and suddenly like things change, or if they make some crazy trade, which I don't even know if that's worth making anymore, then maybe then I'd look at a divisional, maybe.
No.
But I don't know. I'm just not there anymore.
right.
But anyway, while we're talking about like, some silver linings and things like that, what do we always do on Mondays, Weston?
We do our darndest this season and go find somebody who had a halfway decent outing. 49K player of the week is still coming at you.
49K player of the week. It's a tough one. Like this might even is up there with the Arizona game where it was awful for that one as well to really kind of muster up. But I do have a couple, that I would like to nominate, Weston. But I'll let you go first on this one.
Taking the low-hanging fruit. Loved everything that I saw from Malik Mustafa yesterday.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
Even to the point where that first tackle he made, where he just came exploding through the gap and walloped the running back. I literally stood up off the couch like, "Ooh!" And my wife's like, "I haven't even seen you get excited like that in a little while." And I was like, "That was an NFL tackle right there. That was perfect form. Fill the gap, wrap, explode." I'm stealing the most worthy catchphrase that I can think of right now, which is he's just a heat-seeking missile out there. And it shows me that he's playing with confidence on top of that. Whatever the stats said, he led the team in tackles, et cetera, but it wasn't necessarily the volume of tackles. It was the quality of those tackles and the negative plays that he was creating. He's still a rookie. He's still got a little bit of liability in coverage. That'll come with time. That'll come to understand that you can't be caught flat-footed, when a 4-2 wide receivers in your 5-foot buffer zone. Like you need to be, the hips need to be turned and you need to be running or you're going to get blown by. But outside of that, wow, this kid really, really does look super promising. He's here to stay. I don't think Hufanga sees the field again, whether he recovers from injury or not, unless it's in like a nickel situation, something like that. I think a prime example, a rookie got his opportunity, and I don't think he's going to let go of it. I think he's a player.
I think so too. And, I think the last thing we remember seeing of Mustafa in that game, I get it. It was the fact that he did get absolutely trucked by Patrick Mahomes in that game. No, I want to address it because you know what? Like he took that shit like a man. Like he
did.
He knew he got trucked and I thought he took it well. And, things like that do happen every once in a while, but I
think
do
it looked worse than it really was because I also think there's an element of it like you can't smack Mahomes when he crosses the goal line because that's only going to draw 65. Somebody sent me this thing on Instagram, Steph. I'll send it to you afterwards. It's the funniest thing. It's like a voiceover of the refs calling these penalties against Mahomes, and it's like you approached his buffer zone, you lose by 50, game over. Like it's great. I'm going to send it to you, but. Yeah, like on film, it looked like he got absolutely dog walked and run over by Patrick Mahomes. But
he did. I mean, he did. He knows it.
He got shrugged. He got shrugged for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I thought he took that well. And he was laying hits before that. So if anyone was gonna get some get back for that, it was gonna be Patrick Mahomes, I guess. But yeah, no, the reason I'm still nominating him though is because in a loss, we're not really looking at winning performances, right? Like clearly, but we got to look at silver linings. So in losses, when we talk about player of the week, we're looking at silver linings. And I'm looking at Malik Mustafa as someone who is giving me some hope for the future. And that's a good thing, right? Like I think I love the energy he plays with. How quickly he comes downhill. He really is a heat-seeking missile. Like target acquired and boom, like he is there. ESPN had him with 12 total tackles in that game, and yeah, like that's not surprising at all. And Yeah, I think he's just going to continue to get better with time. I agree. He's still a little reckless, for lack of a better word, right? But he'll get those things dialed in. Like I remember Hufanga being similar as a rookie, right? Just taking better angles, learning to do that. But like he's got the instincts, man. He's got the instincts to play well. So looking forward to seeing more Malik Mustafa, right?
For sure.
That's another example of damn, like Talanoa Hufanga, like he's out. He may be out for the rest of the season. Who knows, right? He's going to be out for a while. Okay, well, we get to see more Malik Mustafa, and so far the early returns look good. So sometimes injuries allow you to see what some of these other guys can do, right? So Mustafa so far, all right in my book. My nominee here is also I'm going to say George Kittle. I think for just again, like the bar is pretty low for what we're looking for here in player of the week after a loss. But George Kittle, I think like he needed to come through when so many guys were hurt, right? So he had 92 yards, 6 catches. I would have loved to see more, obviously, right? This snapped his touchdown streak. But I think he came through in some moments. I would have, like I said, he had that long one. That one should have been a touchdown if Brock Purdy throws him in stride there. So he could have had one. He got open on his man, and hopefully we get to see more of that if Kittle can come away healthy and is available for week 8. He's definitely going to continue to be a huge part of this offense going forward. Because they'll need him, man, and you need to step up.
I would have liked to have seen more as well, like specifically 9 more yards receiving, because I have him in 2 fantasy leagues where I would have gotten bonus points for that and be totally different. Look, I'm looking for something coming out of a loss, right? 9 more, is that so much to ask for, George? No, but I mean, when it looks and feels like nobody's giving effort, the one person I think that you never have to worry about their attitude and effort on the offensive side of the ball is number 85. Like he just always shows up, always ready to play, plays that physical brand of football. Could have been a better ball on that one. Maybe he's still running, maybe he's not. Who knows? Especially if depending upon when that foot flared up on him in the game. I think it was honestly on that play because the way he got tackled and like fell backwards with it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where he got nicked up. But yeah, and he's going to get every opportunity so long as he's healthy. Go forward. I think when you're thinking about ways to improve Brock's play, any quarterback's play, quarterback's best friends is a tight end. Look at yesterday with Kelsey's the safety blanket, but they made some plays with the other kid, Noah Gray, like no problems. You know what I mean? Like when all else is failing, that should be your comfort blanket, right? That's your comfort zone. Is that tight end? He's gonna get the opportunities. It's gonna probably be statistically a great season for George Kittle, but hopefully it leads to winning football games, not just us nominating him for 49K Player of the Week. Because there's no other option.
That's pretty much where we're at, right? Like, and I'm also done with hearing about, well, Brock Purdy has this many yards this season and his efficiency is all this, and this other players, look at how many yards he had. Yeah. I don't care. Like, just win games, all right? That's all I care about at this point. Stats aren't going to give me much solace if the wins don't come with it. But Weston, who else, if anyone else, do you want to nominate here?
I have no one else.
All right. Well, I was moved by some of the comments here in the chat, and so I will have. We'll
leave you nameless. who's pumping them out?
I'll throw in an additional. Player of the week out there. I will go Dominic Pooney. I'll just say this, like, it's always tough for offensive linemen to quantify their impact. but he did have one of the toughest matchups this week for the most part, going up against, Chris Jones, who's a wrecking ball out there, right? He's going to get his. Pooney held up pretty well, like no sacks allowed from him. And I think PFF had him with 2 pressures, and that's it. Aaron Banks had 1 pressure. Trent Williams didn't allow any pressure, so he very well could have been nominated as well. But I think the theme of this show is let's see more of these rookies, right? Like the rookies are gonna bring us home. And yeah, I mean, Pooney's been a part of that. He's been a huge part of that. He's been a huge upgrade to this offensive line. It's not a perfect offensive line, we know that, but I think we're happy to have him out there and what he brings to this team and what they're able to do. So I threw that last one in there for you. All right. Well, I am not too excited for it, but we're gonna go ahead and let you guys vote for your 49K player of the week for week 7 in the comments. So in the meantime, though, Weston and I are gonna give some flowers and we're gonna put people on notice. All right. Allow me, Weston, to
of course
give someone some flowers.
Please do.
I got to give some flowers to Ricky Pearsall.
You sure do.
Playing in a game 50 days after your shot in the chest. It's incredible. I mean, that's incredible. It can't be stated enough just how awesome that is. And the fact he was able to record his first NFL catch. I am so looking forward to what he brings to this team going forward. And I love that Ricky Pearsall has become this like unifying thing for all of us to rally around, the team as well. Like he can do no wrong. Like we're just so pumped to see him out there. Anything he does, it's like, hell yeah, you go. He got a standing ovation when he got his first catch. Like, I just love to see it. Definitely got to give him some flowers, for just being out there.
Yeah, that's who I wanted to give flowers to as well. Just being out there is absolutely crazy. Right. Going from a bullet literally going through your chest, out your back, most definitively the scariest moment of that individual's life where it might even cause you to rethink some things, right? Like, is football even that important to me? Whatever it might be, to being out there, to playing, not just being back at practice, but to getting out, recognizing your dream to be in the NFL, seeing it firsthand in a game of that magnitude, right? In terms of like the stands that are there, just such a cool middle of this story. The end is still to be written in terms of his career, but so short time ago to where we are now, it's really awesome to see. And I, like you, Steph, really am enjoying the fact that like he has this opportunity to be a little bit, as a rookie, a little bit of the glue for what's going on in this locker room right now, something to rally around. So yeah, absolutely. Ricky Pearsall is awesome. Looks good, looks physical out there, like looks like he belongs. Still got to work on his craft. He's a rookie. That's his first game experience, but I'm optimistic about number 14.
48 snaps for Ricky Pearsall, most of any wide receiver for the 49ers on Sunday. So that's big. That's big for first game back, right? Like, yep. I don't think he would have even expected that many snaps going into it. But again, like injuries and Debo not being available opened up that door, and he looked good. And I think Kyle even mentioned like he wasn't like winded at all or anything like that, which of course could have been a legit concern with how much time he'd missed. But yeah, I think that was awesome. That was awesome to see. Was there anyone you wanted to give flowers to, Weston?
I'm going to give it to Renardo Green. I just think the Rook continues to show out. Wasn't targeted heavily, like did give up the one catch, but you saw a lot where not just is he, I mean, the effort's clearly there, right? Another one that just looks like he belongs, right? And he carries that dog man. I hate that term. He just carries a mean mentality to him. He is not afraid to come tackle. And Steph, if we brought up our shows in the summer after the draft, one of the things I talked about is, I said, this guy is not afraid to be physical, right? Like he's got a lot of moxie. He wants to play man. He'll get up in your face. He'll do everything. Yes, he's going to get called for penalties. Yes, he's going to get burnt. That's the aggressive nature of the position that he plays. But through 2 games with significant burn, I mean, he's looked like a bright side. Another rookie making an impact on the San Francisco 49ers. So back to our theme, play the rooks, get them their burn. Go find more. Go get the pull them off other people's practice squads. Give people opportunities in this down scenario.
Yeah, I mean, that just reminded me actually of like the 49ers other undrafted free agent who's on the practice squad, Evan Anderson. He didn't play in this game. He wasn't brought up for this one because
should have been.
Jordan Elliott came back. But he's been awesome too. Yep. Like this rookie class for the 49ers so far, even with some of the UDFAs, like been good. Like I've been impressed. So yeah, I mean, definitely got to give some flowers to those guys. A couple of you in the chat want to give flowers to Kalia Davis, Jacob Cowing. Steve-O, you also mentioned Demo. So yeah, we'll give those guys some flowers as well in this one. Weston, I'm tired of putting Brian Schneider on notice. Like, can Kyle just do it already? Like, I don't want to see Brian Schneider on this team past the bye week. Please.
The special teams are having the Jimmy G effect on me. Every time we punt the ball or kick the ball off a tee,
you clench a little bit.
Oh my God. Which is just like anytime Jimmy G dropped back and that ball would leave and the camera didn't catch up yet. I'm like, I have no idea where this is right now. It's mind-boggling. Like it's like I'm literally sitting on the edge, like, oh my God, like what is gonna happen right now? I don't understand it. I don't. For a team that hasn't really been that gun shy about finding scapegoats here and there when the situation arises, like, why hasn't this just been done already? Like, what blackmail does he have on you, Kyle Shanahan, at this point?
Seriously, it's concerning. It's concerning at this point. I think say what you want about Kyle Shanahan, right? I know people are calling for his job, but can we at least get rid of Brian Schneider first? Like, that's a start, right? Like, can we just do that? So that's who I would put on notice again. But yeah, was there anyone you wanted to put on notice here?
Just Devondre Campbell. Like, I can't watch him anymore. I'm sorry. I don't I don't ever disrespect or talk down to the NFL players. Like, these guys are the elite. Even when you're called the scrub, you're really good at what you do. Right. That being said, he is just lost, right? I think the 49ers have become very deficient because of no Dre Greenlaw and other things. They're susceptible to the outside zone scheme, what they want to run. Like, they just are. The edges are getting too far afield. They're not really setting the edge. And this guy, I watched him on one of the reverses. The dude literally ran right by him. Literally right by him, and he had no idea where the ball was. No idea whatsoever. I know the NFL is fast. I get it. But this guy is out of place. Another one where it's like, why? I know he was a free agent acquisition. Give me more D Winters. Give me more Tatum Bethune. Yeah. Give me more DFF. Give me more whatever, because they can't actually fit worse in the defensive scheme than this guy does. Like, what's the upside that he brings? Like, he's not fast. He's upright, so he has rare leverage, and he just looks lost. And I feel like I'm beating a drum here, but like, he's got to go. Like, he just shouldn't be on at this point. Like, just cut your losses. Just cut your losses. I don't care what you sign him, whatever. Whatever the remainder of his contract is guaranteed, I don't care. Like, he just should not be on the football field right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Nick Sorensen is at a point where he knows that too. They're really trying to get D Winters up to speed. His snaps are increasing, I think, like every week. So I think the time is coming for Devondre Campbell to, get
Should
that
have been
spot
Kane.
on the
Should have
bench a
been
little
Kane
more.
week 3.
Yeah, I know. But better late than never. I mean,
No doubt.
Before the bye week, that's fine. That's fine with me. Like you said, cut your losses. They cut their losses with oh my God, who's the Isaac Yadam as well.
Yeah, haven't seen
which
him.
is why Bernardo Green was in there. And yeah, that's how you got to do it. Like, see what you got in the young guys. Like I have said so many times, the young guys are just as capable of making some of the same mistakes that these two guys that we're just talking
and they're going to do it faster.
made.
They're going to do it. They're going to make mistakes.
They're going to learn, and they're going to learn.
Yeah.
Or at least you hope, right?
Yep.
The worst that can happen is you see if they do or not, right? Like, yeah. All right, Weston, we've got a close one. We're actually tied between two players right now for 49K Player of the Week voting between Malik Mustafa, George Kittle, and Dominic Pooney. Who do you want to vote for here?
Mustafa.
Same. Mustafa is our week 7 49K Player of the Week. Hopefully we have more options next week, right?
I don't know. I might call out sick next Monday, Steph, depending on how that Sunday night game goes against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
dude,
the
like
one.
the 49, like if the 49ers don't beat the Cowboys, we've got bigger problems.
We do.
We've
but
got bigger problems. Yeah.
I could honestly almost salvage the year and smile at the end of week 18, regardless of the record, so long as you win this one. You know what I mean? Like, I just need you,
That's all you gotta do
to win this one. They're very, like, I hate the Seahawks. Like, I hate them. But there's no team in the NFL I hate more than the Dallas Cowboys because that's my childhood.
Way back.
Yeah, this goes 30 years back, you know? They got to win this game. God, they got to win this game.
Yeah, that they sure do. But we'll be talking more about the state of the 49ers, this upcoming game against the Cowboys, and all things in between on 49 Carats. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Audio listeners, leave a rating, leave a review. Everyone who's watching, please like this video. And subscribe to the channel. Not just mine, but Weston's as well. Island 49. You don't want to miss it.
Don't want to be on the island alone. Come hang out with a brother, you know?
Yeah, exactly. We got hugs to go around.
You know?
But all right, y'all. Make sure that you guys have a good rest of your Monday. It's all right. There is life outside of the 49ers as well that we can enjoy. Touch some grass if you need to. All right. But I hope you enjoyed this little therapy session of sorts, and have a good rest of your Monday. Peace.